Hey everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus, playing some standard mono red on the ladder, doing some climbing this month now that the ladder's reset. Currently at gold 2 after finishing up at diamond 3. So this deck is a mono red deck for Mark Gabriel on Twitter, or his Twitter handle is at Gabriel_Mark. This deck did quite well in the metagame challenges, and also climbed to 50th in the Mythic rankings last season. So the big takeaway from this version is the inclusion of Phoenix of Ash, as well as Rix Maadi Reveler to kind of refill your hand, hence why the small black splash with the lands of Blood Crypt and Temple of Malice, so you can trigger the full spectacle. Beyond that, it's very similar to what we were playing last time. I believe the main difference is no Runaway Steamkin in this version and Light Up the Stage. Instead, we're playing a little bit more consistent Rix Maadi Reveler with the cantripping ability, and Phoenix of Ash, which is quite a nice resilient threat. Beyond that, you're trying to do the same things, get on the board early with Fervent Champion, Scorch Spitter, pump things up with Rimrock Knight, get your opponent dead, using things like Bonecrusher Giant to kill problematic creatures, and then using things like Torbran and Embercleave to just kind of finish off the game before your opponent gets a chance to settle in for a longer game. As far as the sideboard, use things like Lava Coil and Scorching Dragonfire when you need to get certain creatures out of the way, Unchained Berserker against anything with a bunch of white floating around, Sorcerous Spyglass or problematic planeswalkers, as well as the Oven, Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, in any type of kind of grindy non-creature matchup, and the Akroan War when your opponent has a bunch of big dumb idiots like Riding Regisaur or various big dumb green idiots that aren't ramp. So, that said, let's hop into some matches. See how this match goes. Fortunately, we're on the draw. There we go. So no plays until turn 2? I guess we keep this one just because we have Rix Maadi. Probably not the best hand against mono blue-white control. Some mountains to pitch here. Just a Teferi bounce, that'd be kind of annoying. Alright. Starts a little too slow against a deck like blue-white control. Interesting. Probably another absorb. Ah, the pleasures of playing against blue-white. Yeah, so we can move along here. Alright, so according to his sideboard guide, -4 Bonecrusher Giant, which in some regards makes sense. 1 Torbran, 1 Embercleave, and the 4 Unchained Berserkers, and bring in the 2 Chandras. Well, that kind of makes sense, although I do question cutting these, not cutting more of these two as opposed to Bonecrusher Giant, but I guess Bonecrusher Giant isn't truly that good in the matchup. So, a couple things working against us there. I did keep a bit of a slower hand, and also the fact that we were up against blue-white on the play. They get to go bounce our dude, counter, play Dream Trawler. Yeah. One thing about blue-white control in this format now is they actually have a thing to actually close games out, so you can't just sit here and dawdle all day long against them. This hand feels much, much better. Unchained Berserker into play. Birth of Malice, sure. Do I use Rimrock Knight on killing their wall? Or just dealing one damage? Probably just dealing one damage. Because even if they have a sweeper here, or they basically have to have a sweeper here or they're dead, so yep. Okay. The sweeper? Apparently not. Alright. Difference of play versus draw is a real thing. So I don't think there's anything in the sideboard we particularly want. Especially this enchantment package a lot of them are running. Hand seems perfectly fine. Alright, Birth of Malice, yep. Okay. Do I even play anything here? Possible I was just supposed to jam one of these spells. Sure. Land would be great here. It's unfortunate, but such is life. Definitely not applying damage, especially if they have Dream Trawler next turn. Did I jam Torbran here? I really hate that card with a passion. Alright. Bounce Anax, then sweep the board. These ones are going to punch you in the face. Alright. Wow. Okay. Sure. Somehow need our opponent's hand to be all blanks. Please don't have a counterspell. Please don't have a counterspell. Please don't have a counterspell. We're actually gonna do this. Okay. Trying to show me your entire hand's all lands. I'd feel bad, but you're the one that kind of made the decision to... Okay, sure. And their last card to land. Sweet. It's pretty impressive being a room troller, even if they did draw a bunch of lands. Back here for another match on the draw. So. Shall we dance, opponent? the player's tour of... So we're on the draw with facing this kind of hand with 23 lands in our deck. I think I'm inclined to keep mono red versus mono red, perhaps? It does appear to be mono red versus mono red. Yep. Or a variant of mono red versus a variant of mono red. Do really need to draw lands though. Looks like they're on the Spectacle version. Actually several different versions of mono red running around right now. There's the Bring the Light, kind of lower to the ground version. There's... Yep. They're on the version we were running. Sweet. Question is, what do we actually play here? Does appear like they might have a shock, unfortunately. Yep. They're playing a version much more similar to what we were playing last time around. Got another Lutz. Hand was a good draw. No attacks this time. I think I just want to be able to block Scorch Spitter. If you wish to use a removal spell, that's fine. Yep. Get a little bogged down here. These Rimrock Knights out of here, these Scorch Spitters out of here. Bring the removal. And the rest of the cards don't make as much sense, so... He who cleaves first, cleaves most, usually. One of the things in the aggro mirrors in this kind of standard format is you're just kind of hoping to be the first to hit with Embercleave, because then you're often so far ahead, even if they answer the creature Embercleave is on. would love to play first. I don't think we can keep this one particular one-lander. This hand's a lot better-ish. I'll put him back for now. Torbran? A land? What's this? Torbran feels like he's kind of important in the mirror, but yet feels like we need to get kind of aggressive a little bit. Though we are down on resources, so... Nice shock. Definitely not playing Rix Maadi right now. Yeah, I have First Strike Friend. That wouldn't have been well for you. Should have targeted that one. Now they get a free block there. Yeah, we're just likely too far behind here. On to the next match. For another match. Yeah, we're actually going to play this one. Yeah, it seems reasonable, especially if we are able to cantrip into a third land. Alright, what you got over there, friend? Possibly mirror match? Yeah. Looks like it's the precise mirror match, actually. Really looking for a third land next turn. No, actually, it's more like lair opponent. I was gonna say it's more like lair opponents on knights. Bardian knights at that. Wow. Let's just go and get that guy out of there. Reason to attack here. That was kind of dumb on my part, wasn't it? And time to get cleaved. Torbran here. So how do I block so I don't die? If I block there, I take 2, 3, 4, 9. Let's do the don't die block. Sure. And if you have Bonecrusher, I'm dead regardless. Oh, okay, yeah, that particular combo I can't beat, so. Is the nature of Death Touch. So we didn't see Reggie. It's unlikely they can actually shove Reggie in there anyway. So out the Rimrock Knights. Bring in the removal pretty much. Like this. At least we're getting a kind of a mix of decks as opposed to just like mono red, mono red, mono red, mono red. So I like to play first. It's fine. Buy its stuff. It's mulliganing. Great. Yep, there's Knight. Sure. Question is, what am I discarding here? Another Rix Maadi. So if you would like to use a Bonecrusher Giant, you must do so now. No tax. See if you block. Yeah, I'm supposed to hang on to the other Rix Maadi to be able to reload my hand here. Oh, so you do have Reggie. What a cheeky little fellow, eh? So, Anax can trade with him, can Torbran. Torbran cannot. Past turn. Let's discard a card. Which means they have another Cleave in hand, so we're dead. We're not being Cleave anyway, so yep. Merry Christmas. Aggro mirrors are so fun and interactive. Alright, we're back for the fourth match here. We're on the play. This hand's pretty reasonable. First one we've actually had a 1-2-3 Embercleave hand. Okay. I'm on a red mirror. Okay. Shock. Or maybe they just have Rimrock Knight, actually. Guess that would make more sense, right? No blocks. At the stage. Torbran and that. Okay. Sure. Alright, well, that's one way to end the game. So, my red, once again, these guys go out because they're bad in the matchup. So X1s are kind of terrible in the matchup, especially in X1 that's a 2-drop, and then Scorch Spitter obviously is your least effective of your 1-drops, and oftentimes one's going to be bringing more removal, classing it, so 1-drops you want to get on the board against control decks, mid-range decks. In the mono-red mirror, oftentimes you kind of get into this clash of lack of a better term, it's more of an attrition thing, outside of obviously the power of Embercleave, as we see, just kind of invalidates certain game plans. But opponent's taking a mulligan. I will keep this hand. It's not great, but this hand's fine. Scorch Spitter into that. Okay. And that was a Scorch Spitter. Scorch Spitter of our own. Alright. Trades. No reason to plant Knight into their stuff. Likewise, have an Anax of the Forged. Yep, it's mildly unfortunate, but not unsurprising. Sure. This guy. Do this guy. Do that. Do another Lava Coil. Looks like you might have something. Rimrock, sure. No blocks. Do this guy. Nah, I really don't want to do that, so. Alright, can't block. Should've just attacked. No blocks. What else you got, friend? Alright. Really? Sure. Foolishness on my part. Spell we're dead. Yep. At least we have a third game, right? Should have Lava Coiled. Hadn't dealt damage, so it wasn't drawing a new hand. Spectacle can be a little bit weird with Rix Maadi, unfortunately. So we would have coiled, Rix Maadi'd. Hard to say how that goes. Definitely a bit of a punt on my part, though. Painful hand, but I think a sufficient hand nonetheless. 3 removal spells plus a 1-drop, so seems reasonable enough. Sure. I think it's a little early in the game for Embercleave. Do I even particularly care about Scorch Spitter? Anax, sure. Yep. Yep. This is what I mean about the game becomes a game of attrition. Alright. Yep, their own Lava Coil. The deck is for 4. Alright, well, that was fun. 2 of the 3 were games. The third game was not much of a game because of Embercleave. Anyways, on to the next match. Alright, we're here for the final match in the set with Mono Red. Hand seems fun. 1-drop into 1-drop plus Temple. Another land, so bottom it. Okay. Really would like to draw a land this turn. Sure. Alright, so we can attack with everything here. They don't have Rimrock Knight, right? Yep. Attacks his turn. Hopefully you'll have land. Grey Merchant. And land. Do you have the Grey Merchant? Nope. Just a Cavalier. No, it's just a Cavalier. So is there any way to push through enough damage? 3, 6. Pushing through 6 damage. And because the lifelink, we're just kind of dead in the water. So, black. To the Scorch Spitters. Torbran, Embercleave. Burn removal. I'm seeing a pattern. Good to know for when it's time to go to work later. Alright. Can't keep this hand. Only one land. Likewise, can't keep this hand. This hand is trash. Don't keep its stuff. Yep. A bunch of X1s. Yeah. just now. I guess to slowly grind us out. Oh, wonderful. It's interesting they don't seem to be running Grey Merchant. See, I have this little thing about people saying good game and, yeah, not giving up in that regard. Sure. And go right ahead. Their version of the build seems pretty effective overall, but not the best showing for mono red, but we'll get into that. So taking a look at the stats from that run, definitely there were some misplays. I'm not going to sit here and say there weren't, but kind of dumbfounding that even in a 5-game set that we didn't win a single game on the play. That seems a little weird. In 50% of our games on the draw, lost 2 matches to the mirror match, lost to Rakdos Knights, Mono Black Devotion, beat Blue Eye Control. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of this version of the deck. I think I would have to play it much more matches, obviously. Small sample size, couple of mirror matches, kind of hard to get a good feel for what was going on. Definitely a little bit different play patterns than the other deck. So, as far as things go, not the best showing. Most of my climbing in these events has been mainly related to historic, not standard. So, I've not been a huge fan of these standard formats overall personally, but it's mainly because aggro is not great. It's decent in spots, but mainly because Embercleave is a card, not because aggro itself is actually good. So, taking a look at the other version of the deck that did well with, this is the version that we played that had the shocks. In the main deck, had the light up the stage. Sideboard was a little bit different, had Experimental Frenzy and such. This deck did a little bit better. 63%, 67% on the play, 60% on the draw. Granted, a good bit of this was in events, I believe, not actual ladder climbing. Or I guess there was a little bit of ladder climbing here. So, deck did a little bit of ladder climbing. So maybe I have to go back and revisit what made this version better than the other one. A little bit more interaction, Runaway Steamkin. Some parts of this version I didn't particularly like either, but I do think 1-1 against the mirror match. So, kind of hard to say where mono red really is in the format. Like, I think overall 5-3 with this version, 1-4 with the other one, so 6-7 overall. Kind of feels mono red-ish in a format where aggro isn't great outside of Embercleave. I think Knights and Gruul do a better job of applying early pressure, but I think the mono red has a little bit more in terms of like consistent hitting power with Anax and Torbran. But it's kind of weird that the 3 aggro decks of the format, other than the Heliod aggro deck that's popped up, kind of center around combination of Embercleave and stuff. Whether that be Reggie, whether it be Torbran, whether it be Questing Beast. Don't think aggro has been in a great spot. It's much better when the top decks are the ramp decks and the kind of clunkier, try to go over the top decks, as opposed to things like Blue-Eye Control, the Mirror Match, etc. So this deck really kind of preyed when the Simic ramp decks were kind of popping up, and now they've been kind of pushed down a little bit by the presence of aggro decks. The other decks are starting to pop back up, the Mirror Match, Mono Black, etc., which leads to some not necessarily favorable matchups for Mono Red. So we'll have to see how the decks continue to perform this season going into the next set as Theros kind of rounds out what it's doing. So hopefully you learned some lessons here with me, watching me kind of fumble around with a different build of Mono Red. So hopefully we can do better next time. This has been John for MTG Nexus.